Alright, check this out. This is the coolest thing you'll ever see. Wait for it. Boom. We got magic missiles. Is that not sick? I think it's the coolest thing ever. If you don't think so, then I don't know, maybe you're just weird. You should really get with the times. How does it work? Well, it's really quite simple. You see, the missile knows where it is. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, you find the enemy. Basically, you have a test position that's at the max possible range from the projectile. Then you use the Pythagorean theorem to get the distance from the projectile. And then you take an enemy and do the same thing to get their distance from the projectile. And if the enemy is closer than the test position, then that enemy becomes the new test position. And then you do that for every enemy on the screen, and whichever one is closest, lock onto that enemy. If there are no enemies on screen, then don't do it because it'll crash the game. That's not all we got. I've been working throughout the week, and we got a pretty decent chunk of the attacks and hitboxes and projectiles. I've been trying to improve on the hitbox system I had in Gladius Classic. It's not that different now, but I think it's a little bit better. It's hard. It's easier to read, definitely, but I'm still working on it. The hitbox IDs are in no particular order. I'm kind of just giving them IDs as I make them, except for the weapon attacks, because there's a specific formula to decide which one we create. In Gladius Classic, I had hitboxes and projectiles separate for some reason, even though they're basically the same thing. Just projectiles can move around, hitboxes sometimes move around. But in here, I put them all together, like melee hitboxes and projectiles and explosions and stuff. Or it's all the same thing. The reason I had them separate in Gladius Classic was mostly because of the moving around thing. Because hitboxes typically didn't move, but projectiles did. So projectiles needed to have a VX and a VY and projectile speed and stuff, but hitboxes didn't. And since I was storing them as structs or objects, I guess, in HTML, it was really hard to give them different variables without messing everything up. The way I had them coded is that if it was such a way that if projectiles and hitboxes ran the same code, we would be getting errors because projectiles had variables that hitboxes didn't, and hitboxes had variables that projectiles didn't. So they just weren't compatible. But in GameMaker, because there's a function to check if the variable even exists, and then I could just have them run the same code, because if the variable doesn't exist, then just don't run this code because we don't need it. There might have been a JavaScript method similar to that, but I don't know, I wasn't that good at JavaScript. One problem I had when coding the hitboxes was the pierce. So when I want to have a hitbox only be able to hit a certain amount of enemies, I give it limited pierce. At 0 pierce, it only hits one enemy and then gets destroyed. Some things have infinite pierce. Yeah, so it never gets destroyed, and it disappears when it runs out of time or whatever. But for whatever reason, so this works fine. This properly decrements the pierce whenever you hit an enemy. But the code to destroy the object when it runs out of pierce wasn't working in the collision event for some reason. It just wasn't destroying the object. It works here, but I kind of don't like it here because I feel like this could cause problems, as maybe it doesn't destroy the projectile immediately. I feel like it already is causing problems because there's another bug that I don't know how to fix, where if the enemies are grouped together and a projectile comes in and hits the enemy, it'll hit both enemies at the same time. Hold on, I think I can show you. So we're here in the game, we have the bow equipped, and here all the goblins are bunched up together. If I shoot the bow at them, they're all taking damage at the same time, even though the bow has 0 pierce, and should theoretically only be able to hit one enemy at a time. That's a really big problem, and I don't know how to fix it. If anyone happens to know how to fix that, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate that. Testing out the projectiles for the first time was really annoying because, surprise, surprise, radians are stupid as hell. For whatever reason, the point direction function returns an angle in degrees, but the trigonometry functions, cosine, sine, tangent, they take angles in radians. I thought it was as simple as the x velocity is just the cosine of the angle and the y velocity is just the sine of the angle. But then I tested it and they were all going all over the place. Then I just added this weird degrees to radians conversion and it worked fine. Technically, the inconsistency with the units is Game Maker's fault, but I choose to blame radians for existing. Having angles between 0 and 3.14 doesn't even make any sense. Having to put it in terms of pi makes it so much harder to read and understand. If I told you to imagine a 45-degree angle, you could probably do it really easily. But if I told you to imagine a 0.785 radian angle, could you do it? Probably not. But anyways, I digress. So the hitbox system is still being worked on. I still have to come up with 4 unique attacks for each weapon. And I also just realized that this doesn't work like I thought it did. I just haven't properly tested it, but then I did, and it didn't work. So I'll have to figure something out for that. Over the last week, I've just been going down the list and implementing a bunch of items. We already got a bunch of the stat boosting items already implemented. A lot of the hitboxes I just showed off were from items. Especially at the bottom here. This week I'm probably going to try and finish implementing the rest of the weapons, but there's still a lot of bugs I need to work out. You may have noticed that I haven't implemented knockback yet, so that's because math is hard. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. My last video kind of blew up, relative to my other videos. I really appreciate all the comments you guys left on that last video. One guy said I restored his faith in the gaming industry. That really means a lot. One guy posted dinosaur emojis. That also means a lot. It's great to see that people enjoy following along with the development of Gladius. Anyways, like the video or a giant butterfly will erase you from the timeline. So, when you eat a lot of food, that's called gluttony, which is a sin. But when you eat a lot of pie, it's not considered gluttony because the sin of pi is 0.